Dealing with the loss of a loved one is incredibly challenging, and navigating their financial affairs can feel overwhelming during such a tender time. It is a process that requires patience and clear steps, but you do not have to face it alone. At its core, the transfer of investment accounts after death typically depends on how the account was titled and if a beneficiary was designated. Understanding these key factors can simplify what might otherwise seem like a complicated journey. The primary reason transfers follow specific paths is to honor the account holder's wishes and comply with legal frameworks. If an account has a designated beneficiary, such as through a transfer on death or payable on death provision, those assets can usually pass directly to the named individual, bypassing the probate court process. Similarly, accounts held jointly with rights of survivorship will automatically transfer to the surviving joint owner. This is because these designations and ownership structures are built to provide a direct path for asset distribution upon death. However, if an investment account lacks a beneficiary designation or joint ownership, it generally becomes part of the deceased person's estate and will likely go through the probate process, guided by the will or state intestacy laws. To navigate this process smoothly, start by gathering all relevant documents. This includes the death certificate, the deceased last will and testament, and any recent statements for their investment accounts. Next, you will want to contact each financial institution where accounts are held. They will provide specific instructions and forms needed for transferring the assets. Often, this involves filling out their beneficiary claim forms or executor paperwork and submitting the necessary documentation. Remember to ask about any required identification for the beneficiaries or the executor, and inquire about the timeframe for processing these transfers. Being organized and communicating clearly with each institution will make a significant difference. An important detail to understand for beneficiaries is the concept of a step-up in basis. When you inherit an asset, its cost basis for tax purposes is typically adjusted to its market value on the date of the original owner's death, or an alternative valuation date 6 months later. This can be incredibly beneficial, as it often means less capital gains tax if you decide to sell the inherited investments later on. It is a valuable aspect of inherited assets that can provide a significant financial advantage. By understanding how beneficiary designations and account titling influence the transfer process, and by methodically gathering documents and communicating with financial institutions, you can manage this responsibility with greater confidence. This knowledge empowers you to effectively honor your loved one's financial legacy, reducing stress and ensuring their assets are handled correctly for the future.